So even though I love Dead by Daylight at its core, for some reason there are constantly like issues with the game that I would just like love to talk about for once, because it has been months and months and these issues keep piling up for me, and I just really want to like put my voice out there, see if like maybe something can happen. Because I think this is like kind of getting to the point where it's unacceptable. So anyway, I have a couple of points. With a couple, I mean quite a few. I will talk about them like hopefully as short as possible. And yeah, so let's just start with the first thing. For some reason, every single patch is always buggy. I don't know how it gets this bad. For example, the last, for me at least, last when I'm recording this, updates, like the big updates, like the Handmaster release, right? Buggy-ish. Like, I don't know if I can swear yet, I don't know if I'm over that time mark, but yeah, really buggy updates, right? Like, the dog would sometimes just get stuck, it just wouldn't work, it would be somewhere completely different. A lot of issues with Handmaster on release, and then there were like a couple of other bugs out there that I kind of forgot, to be honest. But they do they do fix those within like the next couple of weeks if they get fixed. But for example, Spirit's like audio phase bug didn't get fixed for months. Like it was known with the Hunt, or like before the Handmaster chapter came out for like a month already, and then it came out still not fixed. And now it is fixed with the mid chapter with the Freddy rework, but that's kind of insane that it took like 2-3 months just to get the Spirit audio like phasing bug fixed, and then they release a skin which doesn't have husk sounds, so it's pay to win for this update until the next update comes out. Kind of crazy. I really wish the patches were less buggy on release. That would help a lot. I also just kind of find it crazy that quality of life or just basic features takes so long to implement. Like for example, FOV slider took like 7 years to add. Anti-aliasing setting took also 7 years, I think, and you have to use config files to get rid of it. There still aren't that many great video settings. Heartbeat visual support also like took a really long time to get. And I still think there should be more like visual support for audio stuff, because just heartbeat isn't enough. Like for example, Dredge has directional audio, Huntress winding up a hatchet is audio, Wesker like charging his bound is audio. That I think like it would be nice to have all of those as like audio cues on your screen, rather than only being able to hear them, because that would be more accessible for deaf people. And sometimes the audio just doesn't play, so yeah, it will be nice for non-deaf people as well, because it just is bugged. And like, we're still at 120 FPS cap for some reason, and it's 2025, hello? Next thing is that I just find it really insane that it takes so long for just simple changes to come into the game. Like, for example, the Trickster, like, changes I want to do, where they make him 110 again, and, like, older, like, laceration and stuff like that. Just so it's, like, more like old Trickster. For some reason, that still takes half a year to implement. How does it take half a year to change a couple of numbers around at the very least? Like, I understand that I think they want to do add-ons as well, but couldn't they just revert to old add-ons for the time being or something like that? Like, I know it's a bit meh of a change, but it's better than waiting like half a year for it. Also, it's crazy that EAC, also known as EC Anti-Cheat, is still pretty bad, and that it feels like BHVR just doesn't do anything to fight cheaters at all. Like, I know they say they do, but if they really did, why don't they add like in-game checks somehow, or like server-sided checks, like, oh, this player is going too fast, oh, this player is flying somewhere where they shouldn't be, or something like that, you know? Like, it wouldn't be that hard to at least like have that kind of base detection and just kick them out of the match if they are like suspicious enough. You know, I feel like that really wouldn't be that difficult. A lot of games do it like that. Also, I don't understand why they buff or nerf killers sometimes when they're like in a pretty good spot. Like for example, the Handmaster buffs that came a couple weeks after the patch release were insane. I don't know why we went from 5-second cooldown to 4-second cooldown to now 3-second cooldown. Because basically now you can grab someone with your dog, M1 them, and then you can just hit your dog again, and if it's like a bad map for them, or like there's like a lot of open space, that it's just a 2-tap. Unless, I mean, like obviously like you just have to play against Handmaster differently, like you have to like camp a pallet, have the dog be sent, then drop it. Like, it's boring as fuck, but that's just how it is. Like, it's just boring gameplay. But it's still kind of crazy that it's a 3-second cooldown. Like, every 3 seconds you just have to be at a pallet or you get grabbed. And of course there's also like Billy with the whole overdrive thing and the 1-second turn rate instead of 0.75, which doesn't sound like much, but that's 0.25 extra apparently does help a lot. And kind of made Billy go from a killer that required a lot of skill before his like overheat mechanic got introduced in 2021, I think, to now being a very easy yet very strong killer to play. And then there's also like the whole skull merchant changes, where it went from the drones that make you exposed to the drones that scan you that now only have 1 line instead of 2, and it's just like really weird. And honestly, like, hot take, but I kind of miss old school merchant, because like it was actually fun to play against as a team, in my opinion, even though it was kind of cheese. The only problem with the whole free gen thing with skull merchant was that it was eruption, overcharge, Call of Brine, which now have been nerfed. So like I think current, like old skull merchant would be fine in current meta. Anyway, Any other killers? I guess like Chucky as well, you know, like the slower scamper speed, stuff like that. Just like weird number tweaks that I feel like are just like over-tuning too much instead of trying to like find like an even like balance. But yeah, up next, I talked a little bit about it earlier as well, and I just feel like they just neglect bugs if it doesn't get them money. Like, it doesn't make them any money. Like, the Spirit Audio bug, I guess technically could make them money, but since it's like an original character and not a license, I feel like they just don't care about, like, fixing the bug as much because it won't make them as much money. There aren't that many Spirit players out there, I feel like. I don't go against Spirit that often, unfortunately. So, yeah. I feel like they like to just neglect some bugs sometimes if they feel like it's not gonna make them money if they fix it. And this can go as far as, like, basic gameplay stuff, you know? Like, for example, the whole bounce landing on 120 FPS, not proccing, but it does in 60. Like, that's a bug they could fix, but they won't because it doesn't really affect them. It's not gonna make them more money. Also, a thing that I kinda noticed is that they just keep using a similar formula back to back for multiple killers in a row. So, for example, when I started playing and the Slinger chapter came out, I was like, oh yeah, cool, a ranged killer, but doesn't go too far, you know? It was like a Huntress, but like not really. Kinda cool. Next chapter, Pyramid. Which is also a ranged killer, but not too far. But it now goes for walls. Woo, you know, like, it just feels like it's kind of a copy-paste, but like with a different skin on it. Like, hey bro, can I copy your homework? Yeah, sure, just make sure to change it up a little bit. Kind of thing. And I also kind of feel that with like Vecna and Dracula, how Vecna has multiple powers and Vecna can change into multiple forms, which are technically multiple powers. And I also kind of felt it with like Knight and Skull Merchant and kind of Singularity, where they were all like very good at free-genning, but that wasn't really like a power design thing, it was just more of a thing of, oh, you can free-gen, lol. But I guess that was still like unique powers technically. Also, I feel like they're just making the game too easy now. Think of stuff like anti-camp or base get borrowed timed or the removal of hook grabs or the gen regression limit where you can only have it regress 8 times before it gets blocked, or just some of the most insane perk buffs or nerfs that they keep doing. If I can think of an example, maybe like the decisive strike change from 5 seconds to 3 seconds and then to 4 seconds. Like, I just don't understand that. I think it was fine at 3 seconds, to be honest. And then like Deadman switch being 50 seconds but only on one gen, ooh, instead of fucking 30 seconds on every gen. That gets let go of. I honestly preferred old DMS. Felt like it was more fair and didn't feel as oppressive, especially with like how many people play solo queue, and then there's like Painter's DMS, oh, I can do this gen for 50 seconds, lol. And then I have Grim Embrace and like just some, like, so even if you counter the Painter's DMS, you still have to get like hit with Grim Embrace. It's just kind of crazy. And there's probably like way more perks that I'm not thinking of right now because I'm just trying to make this as fast as possible. Oh yeah, the Spine Shield nerf, I guess. Like, why, like, just give me that 6% fault speed. Also, to still like be on the same topic, like the whole tech removal that they've been doing. So for example, Blight's Huck tech, the Dracula Wolfform Huck tech, which, you know, you couldn't even see anything. Like, you just kind of had to guess where the survivor was going. It was like kind of like a skillful thing. I'd say with Blight Huck tech, it just kind of removes skill expression, getting rid of Huck techs on him. And I'm worried they're going to do this with more characters down the line. So think of like Wesker techs, for example, maybe being removed at some point. And there's probably like Dracula techs. There's probably some Hunt. Yeah, no, there's a Huntmaster tech. Well, it's kind of an exploit, but still, you know, it's still like skill expression in a way. And there's probably like a lot more techs that might have been removed or tweaked or don't work anymore. Like Chucky 180s, actually, now that I think of it. And J-Flick on Blight, and I'm surprised Oni can still 180, to be honest, or Flick in general. I am really surprised. And I wouldn't be surprised if BHVR in the future will remove flicking on Oni, which would make him less fun to play as. Next thing on my list, yeah, I did make a list. At least during the first few weeks of Bone Chill, I don't know if it still is. I know with Chaos Shuffle it felt fine, but during Bone Chill, for some reason, my ping tripled. Like, I would usually get like 20 ping, roughly, in match or in game. It's like really nice, feels really good. And for some reason, during Bone Chill event, it would go up to 60 at some point. It's, I don't know if I can find footage of it, probably not, but I know it happened. It's really annoying. I don't know why that even happens, it's weird. I mean, maybe it has to do with my next point. There's a complete lack of lag compensation or something like that, or like good net codes. Like, if you play Survivor, you would know. You can have like really good ping, like for example, like I said, I have like 20 ping usually, but the killer then has like 100 ping, and for some reason, they decided to get rid of the lag compensation that they had at some point, because like, killers were getting hits that weren't connecting kind of thing, like it would show as a hit but it wouldn't go through. I think that was fine, to be honest, but yeah, I guess BHVR said no, and now I get hit through pallets or through windows if they have high ping on killer. It's very unfun to play against, because basically how it works is the killer sees your position further behind because they're lagging, they see your input later, whatever. You know, so they see you closer to them than that you actually are, so if they hit you on their screen, they are actually like hitting a normal hit, but then on your screen you're really far away. It's stupid. and it's really annoying, and I wish they would bring back lag compensation because of it, because it generally is unfun to play against. I've even had it in situations where I have 20 ping, I use dead art, my enemy is like midway through and I still go down on the floor because they have bad ping. It is very unfun. I really wish they could bring back hit validation. And my last thing is about bad map design, because both on gameplay and visuals, I feel like their maps have been going downhill rapidly. I mean, even like older maps, think of like Autohaven and Coldwind, they're just one color. Autohaven is super green, Coldwind is super yellow, and I need to run my own like reshade files or reshade configs to like make them look kind of tolerable for me. And it's the same with like Borgo, for example. New Borgo, like the floor is just green for some reason. Maps like Orbit and Irie are too bright for me, personally. And there's no in-game brightness slider, so lol. So yeah, I feel like just like map visual inconsistencies is really annoying. And then like they also made Coldwind really weak with like the kind of tiles they've been implementing, being super like weird or like weak and stuff like that. Autohaven has got some kind of weak tiles now as well, but it's still a pretty good map. I do still really like Autohaven. Macmillan also got some weird tiles, and then like Borgo, for example, has the jungle gym kind of tiles that don't actually have a palette or window in them. And that's just been kind of a trend with Toba as well, being like really bad visually, like, and even audio-wise, it's really bad because it's just like way too noisy, way too overwhelming. And I know some people with, I think, I'm not sure. I want to say it was ADHD, but I'm not entirely sure. But they have something, and like the audio cues in Toba Landing cause like a sensory overload, makes them not be able to like play the game as well and stuff like that. I don't personally have that, but I also play with music on, so maybe I just don't hear it. But Toba still looks terrible visually. It's like really bad to like you can't see it at all. And if you can see something, there will be a rock 5 meters in front of you anyway. It's like really annoying. And then Nostromo is also like super blue. There's just a lot of like bad map design, I feel like. And like even Greenville, for example, a map that I do think has potential, it just is ruined by being overly bright, and the floor is literal like lime green. It's not like a realistic like grass or anything, it's just lime green. And it makes it look really bad. There might be some more maps that I'm just like not thinking of right now. But I will say the new Ormond map, the new like Ormond mine, that does look pretty good. I do like how that looks, although I do still think it's a little bit too bright for me personally. It still is like a huge improvement over like Borgo, Nostromo, Toba, those kind of maps. Yeah, those for now were like all of my points. Keep saying like a lot. Maybe it's a sign, you know, that you should like the video, haha. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my rambling about this game for a bit. Because I can't even like think of, I guess this can also fit into it, I can't think of anything fun to do in this game anymore for like content. So I've just been talking. Yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope maybe you can agree with some of my points, maybe you disagree with some of my points, maybe there's something I forgot that you would like to add, you can always comment it. I still love this game, obviously, I want the best for it, but BHVR needs to step up their game. They've been lacking, I swear. I don't know if any of you play Counter-Strike, but even the Counter-Strike devs have been doing more. And the only thing they've really, like, the only thing that was big that they did in a year time is make a new map and add an armor repass. So I don't know, I feel like BHVR just needs to step up their game. Feel free to follow me on Twitch if you also like Counter-Strike, because I play that a lot. But I also play Dead by Daylight, don't worry about it. And I will always complain and yap about things in Dead by Daylight there that I maybe don't think of right now. I'm making this video way too long. Okay, bye!